The Magnificent Ambersons by Booth Tarkington. Chapter 1. Major Amberson had made a fortune in 1873 when other people were losing fortunes, and the magnificence of the Ambersons began then. Magnificence, like the size of a fortune, is always comparative, as even magnificent Lorenzo may now perceive, if he has happened to haunt New York in 1916. And the Ambersons were magnificent in their day and place. Their splendor lasted throughout all the years that saw their Midland town spread and darken into a city, but reached its topmost during the period when every prosperous family with children kept a Newfoundland dog. In that town, in those days, all the women wore silk or velvet, and they knew all the other women who wore silk or velvet, and when there was a new purchase of sealskin, sick people were got to windows to see it go by. Trotters were out, in the winter afternoons, racing light sleighs on National Avenue and Tennessee Street. Everybody recognized both the trotters and the drivers, and again knew them as well on summer evenings, when slim buggies whizzed by in renewals of the snow-time rivalry. For that matter, everybody knew everybody else's family horse and carriage, could identify such a silhouette half a mile down the street, and thereby was sure who was going to market, or to a reception, or coming home from the office or store to noon dinner or evening supper. During the earlier years of this period, elegance of personal appearance was believed to rest more upon the texture of garments than upon their shaping. A silk dress needed no remodeling when it was a year or so old; it remained distinguished by merely remaining silk. Old men and governors wore broadcloth; full dress was broadcloth with doeskin trousers, and there were seen men of all ages to whom a hat meant only that rigid, tall, silk thing known to impudence as a stovepipe. In town and country these men would wear no other hat, and without self-consciousness they went rowing in such hats. Shifting fashions of shape replaced aristocracy of texture. Dressmakers, shoemakers, hat-makers, and tailors, increasing in cunning and in power, found means to make new clothes old. The long contagion of the Derby hat arrived. One season the crown of this hat would be a bucket, the next it would be a spoon. Every house still kept its bootjack, but high-topped boots gave way to shoes and Congress gaiters, and these were played-through fashions that shaped them now with toes like box-ends, and now with toes like the prows of racing shells. Trousers with a crease were considered plebeian. The crease proved that the garment had lain upon a shelf and hence was ready-made. These betraying trousers were called hand-me-downs, in allusion to the shelf. In the early 80s, while bangs and bustles were having their way with women, that variation of dandy known as the dude was invented. He wore trousers as tight as stockings, dagger-pointed shoes, a spoon derby, a single-breasted coat called a Chesterfield with short flaring skirts, a torturing cylindrical collar, laundered to a polish and 3 inches high, while his other neck-gear might be a heavy puffed cravat or a tiny bow fit for a doll's braids. With evening dress he wore a tan overcoat so short that his black coat-tails hung visible 5 inches below the overcoat. But after a season or two he lengthened his overcoat till it touched his heels, and he passed out of his tight trousers into trousers like great bags. Then presently he was seen no more, though the word that had been coined for him remained in the vocabularies of the impertinent. It was a hairier day than this. Beards were to the wearer's fancy, and things as strange as the Kaiserliche boar-tusk moustache were commonplace. Sideburns found nourishment upon childlike profiles. Great Dundreary whiskers blew like tippets over young shoulders. Moustaches were trained as lambrequins over forgotten mouths, and it was possible for a senator of the United States to wear a mist of white whisker upon his throat only, not a newspaper in the land finding the ornament distinguished enough to warrant a lampoon. Surely no more is needed to prove that so short a time ago we were living in another age. At the beginning of the Ambersons' great period, most of the houses of the Midland town were of a pleasant architecture. They lacked style, but also lacked pretentiousness, and whatever does not pretend at all has style enough. They stood in commodious yards, well shaded by left-over forest trees, elm and walnut and beech, with here and there a line of tall sycamores, where the land had been made by filling bayous from the creek. The house of a prominent resident facing Military Square, or National Avenue, or Tennessee Street, was built of brick upon a stone foundation, or of wood upon a brick foundation.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?